Hey everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the J-Dub Show. Today's going to be a brief episode. We're going to try to keep this to about 15 minutes, somewhere around there. A little bit of a special topic today. We're going to be going over our driver development and testing program. We get tons of interest and questions and emails and phone calls. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. Sit down, and I've got a podcast strictly devoted to that. Hopefully it will answer some questions for you guys, spur some interest, kind of give an insight into what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. So basically, I'm going to kick off kind of from the beginning, just how everything goes. We ask that guys go check out our website first and foremost, www.level1motorsports. We have .com, .us will work. We had .us for the longest time, but we now own .com. So www.level1motorsports.com, and that's the number one, not O-N-E. And click on the development page and look it over. Pretty much all the information that we could think of is there. And what I'm going to do here in just a few minutes is basically just go completely through the development page so that whoever's listening to this already has at least that knowledge in their bank. First and foremost, I'd like to tell guys a little bit about ourselves. My name is James Martin. I'm co-owner and typically crew chief and team manager and pretty much everything else for Level 1 Motorsports. I've been racing since 1988 or 89, somewhere around there. Been doing it as a living for quite a while now. I've worked in all three series, top series to one degree or another. I've worked in ARCA, local short track racing, late model, stuff like that. Built cars, set up cars, worked in the engine shops, built engines. I was a gear specialist in the NASCAR world. I've been a crew chief in the NASCAR world, car chief in the NASCAR world. Pretty much have done everything there is to do in racing to one degree or another. My business partner, the co-owner of Level 1, is Jim Blankenbaker. Jim has worked in NASCAR as well, extensively. He's working in IndyCar racing extensively. Right now, today, he is not working full-time in the motorsports industry. He actually has a job working for a company that makes parts for the Department of Defense out of Chicago. He's as involved with the business as he can be, but with his work and schedule, it just does not permit him to be involved day to day. But he is involved in all major decisions before we move forward on anything. Neither one of us are millionaires, which is unfortunate given the field that we choose to have a business in. We're just kind of normal guys that really love the sport and are wanting to, stake our claim in it, and at the same time, give back to it by trying to help, new young guys break into it, get it figured out, that kind of thing. So that's kind of that. We are based just south of Charlotte, North Carolina. We also have a satellite shop in Indianapolis, which basically is where we house a lot of equipment. There's not a whole lot of day-to-day that goes on up there. Most of the day-to-day is down here, just south of Charlotte. Our Saturday night programs, late models, modified, all that stuff is based out of down here. Our testing is based out of down here. Our ARCA stuff is based out of down here. So that's kind of how that works. So I'm going to jump right into the website and just kind of go through these things, like I said, one at a time, just like they're listed on the website. You can go look at them yourself and get an idea of what we're talking about here. But just so that you have an understanding of what's going on, I would definitely go and check it out. Okay, number one, what is the cost? This is a good question. Right now, today, the cost is $1,000 for the test evaluation session, and I'll go into more of that later. To reserve a spot at a test, which there's not that many of them to get, we require a $300 deposit, so that way we know if we pencil a guy in, pretty good chance he's going to come. The balance of it, $700, can be paid at the track the day of the test. It just has to be in cash, is all. We are working diligently right now to try to actually lower that price. And there again, I'll get into more of that later. But as of today, it's $1,000. To the best of my knowledge, it won't be going up anytime soon, and it actually may be coming down just a little bit to try to help get as many of the right guys an opportunity as possible. Second thing on the page is how much experience do I need? None, really. I mean, if you've ever driven a car, we can probably help you out. We work with, we work with kids as young as 13 years old that are fresh off of go-karts or Legends cars and want to get big car experience and try to prepare themselves so that when they get older, they're ready to go. We work with guys that have driven in major touring series that are ready to get into a NASCAR race tomorrow. We can pretty much help anybody that has, number one, the talent. Even if it's raw, even if it's bare, talent's there. You can develop talent. You can expand on talent. You can grow talent, but you can't put talent in someone. And the second thing that's just as important is dedication. You've got to have the dedication to do this. So if you think you have the talent and the dedication and the want to do it, then we can help. Where are the tests conducted at? Initially, we were using a couple different racetracks. Right now, we pretty much use Dillon Motor Speedway in Dillon, South Carolina, exclusively. We do that because we have a really good deal worked out with the track owner, Ron Barfield. He treats us extremely well. The rate is extremely good, and that's one of the things that helps us keep the test fees as low as possible. Is the less we have to travel and the less we have to pay for track rental and expenses in general, the lower the test fees can be. How long is the test? Depending on how many drivers we have, the test is from a half day to a full day. Typically, it's a half day. We try to do as many tests on Sundays as possible. It makes it a little bit easier on us. We found that with guys' work schedule, it makes it easier on them. The problem with doing Sundays is we can't hit the track until noon, so we're already locked into just a half a day there. And on a half a day deal, we would take 3 drivers maximum. So it's not like you would be there with 10 other guys. 3 is the maximum, absolute maximum. On a full day, 4 is the absolute maximum. So that's that. The very next thing, we'll save that for last, but just kind of skipping over. Will everyone help me with marketing? Yes, we will. We're not going to go out and find you a sponsor. We have enough trouble doing that on our own. We're not going to put in the work for you, but we're currently in talks with a couple different marketing firms to try to partner with to give guys that outlet if they need it. Quite honestly, a lot of our guys already have something going on with marketing and sponsorship on their own, and maybe they just need some help expanding that, and we as a business can help with that. But starting from ground zero, we can offer advice, coaching, some marketing material, that sort of thing. But as of right now, we had an in-house marketing program. It just didn't work out like we would have hoped it would. So that kind of went away. But like I said, we're talking to a couple different marketing firms in the area right now to partner with us to help grow our drivers, grow their business, grow our business, make it a win-win for everybody. Can I bring guests? Absolutely. We kind of like to keep it to, a little bit of a minimum, maybe 3 or 4, because, we don't test it a 1.5-mile track. It's not that big in the infield. And, once we go hot on the track, so to speak, and have, a truck going around the track, we have to make sure that everybody's, safe and in a good location, all that there. So the more people you have, the harder that gets. But definitely, no matter who you are as a driver, a racer, or what you run, there's been people that have helped you get to the point that you're at now. And, those people need to be there during this step as well. So we definitely welcome guests. Obviously, with a lot of the younger guys we work with, it ends up being parents, which is also cool. We just ask that you stay in designated areas, let us do our job, and all we're trying to do is make sure that your driver gets as good an opportunity as possible, and they do their absolute best. So for that reason, we ask that you stay in the designated areas and just let us concentrate on what we're there to do. Can I visit the shop before or after my test? Typically, yes. Our schedule is right now pretty busy. We work kind of some goofy hours at the shop. It's very rarely, 7 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever. It usually ends up being more like, 12 to 9 or something crazy. But, if we're there and working, and it's not going to be a distraction to what we're trying to do, because we run a pretty small crew, and I'm heavily involved in everything that goes on at the shop. So sometimes it's just not possible to stop, take time, and visit with people, talk to people, show them around. I mean, sometimes I can, and I love it, and I love doing it, and we're really proud of what we have going on, and we'd love to show it off. But some days it's just not possible. So the best answer I can give to that is maybe. Just let us know when you're thinking about coming by, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Okay, what do I need to bring? As far as safety equipment goes, you just need the basic helmet, fire suit, gloves, that sort of thing. You will need a set of racing earbuds. And believe it or not, I have ran across guys that do not know what racing earbuds are. Okay, so here's what racing earbuds are. Racing earbuds are like the little gimmicks that you plug into your iPhone to listen to your music. Those are earbuds. Some people call them earplugs, earphones, whatever. But in the racing world, they're earbuds. And racing earbuds are a special breed. Sorry about that. Are a special breed all of their own, and they're specifically designed to work with racing radios. In the past, we haven't had very good luck with the style that come with the receivers, but I don't know if they changed the electronics in them or whatever. But here lately, we've had a few guys come with their receiver earbuds, and they've actually worked really well. So, best thing I can tell you is, they're all a little pricey, so if you can borrow a set, borrow them. If you have a set of the newer receiver ones, bring them. We'll give it a try. We probably need to address this somehow on our end in the future with having. We actually have 2 loaner sets, but they've been loaned out so much that they're pretty beat up right now. So I don't really like to use those. But the earbuds is probably the biggest thing. Fire suit, gloves, helmet, that sort of thing. And if you're missing something, we do have some loaner gear. We're not like the Richard Petty driving experience where we have 300 fire suits and 50 helmets, and we've got some gear. Pretty much everybody that works for us races, so I can usually borrow some gear if I have to. Most guys that come have their own gear anyway, so it's not a huge issue. But if you don't, Don't rush right out and buy anything just to come to this test. Give us a call. Let us know what's going on, and we'll see if we can help you on that end. Save you some money on the front side so you don't lose money on the back side. Okay, what's next? Let's go to this one here. What happens next if I do well? That's one of the big questions there. And just like the website states, gosh, that's complicated. I can't sit here right now and truthfully say, if you do well, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. We pretty much already have an end goal, because most guys that contact us want to be in the NASCAR world. Okay, so that's our end goal. Now the big question is, what's our starting point? And that's what's determined by the test sessions. Number one, is this driver a guy that we would like to work with moving forward? Number two, would they like to work with us moving forward? That's a question as well. If both of those things are yes, then the third question is, okay, at what point are we starting at? Are we looking at starting in late model super trucks, late model touring series cars? Are those guys beyond that? Are we looking at ARCA? Once we have all those questions answered, then we can say, okay, this is our starting point. We have our end point. Now, how do we get there? What kind of a plan can we put together that makes the most sense for everyone involved? And that's going to be a different plan for pretty much everybody. Every driver's got his own deal going. Everybody's got their own special situations. It can be as simple a factor as, well, where do you live at? Not many people can uproot and just move here initially. And we don't require that, and I don't really recommend that unless you just want to. So there again, there's tons of factors, and those things have to be addressed before we can sit down and say, okay, this is our plan. But we can put a plan together for anyone. So don't let that hold you back. And how do I get started? That's the last thing. After you've read all the information or listened to this, simply send us an email with a brief description of your racing background. I love the stories that people give us with their struggles in life and what they've been going through and what they've overcame. That's awesome. Don't stop sending that. That actually, to me, plays a part in it. But don't get lost in that and not include what you've been doing for racing. And if it's nothing, say it's nothing. Say, hey, haven't really raced anything, but I want to give this a shot. This is my dream. I want to try to chase it. Fine. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Just be sure to put that in the email so that we kind of group guys in different little sections. It's not good or bad. It's just how we do it to handle the volume. And so, that's one of the things that we look at. And so that's what we need to know. Like I said, don't, let us know a little something about you on the personal side and all that. But put your racing experience in so that we can categorize everybody and we make sure that we get back to everybody. Oh, and that another thing, your contact information. Be sure to put a good phone number, and if we can't call pretty much any time, put in a good time to call. We try to call as many people in the afternoons as possible because guys do work and that sort of thing. But we can only call so many people after our day's done. So if we can call anytime, put in there anytime. If we need to call after 5 or whatever, put in there, call after 5. That would help us tremendously with our email load. All right, so that's pretty much the development page right there. Went through it top to bottom. It's pretty simple. In my mind, that answers as many questions as you can possibly answer in a nice, concise form that makes sense. Still get guys email me saying, hey, I want some information on the program, and we'll email them back and say, hey, check out the development page, and then they'll email back and say, hey, well, I checked it out, but I still like some information on the program. It's like, hey, man, well, that's pretty much all I can think of, man. If you've got anything specific you want to know, feel free to email us and ask your question. But day in, day out, the meat and the potatoes of the program, that's the gist of it right there. I'm going to go through a few other super common questions that we get that, I kind of thought everybody would be on the same page with, which is why we didn't add it to the page. But, it comes up, so it needs to be addressed. And so I'll run through them right now. The first one is, what if it rains? Well, what do you normally do if it rains and you're at a racetrack? You pack up and you leave and you come back another day. I can't control the weather, unfortunately. Our protocol on that is if it's 50%, 40% or less chance of rain or snow or whatever, we go and we fight it and we try to get the day in. 50% or higher, we call it. I've been doing this long enough now to know that anything over 50%, you're not going to win. Even if it doesn't come a downpour at the track, typically over 50%, you're going to have a ton of water in the air, light mists, if nothing else. Basically, you just never get the track dry. Even if it's not pouring down rain on your head, you're just never going to get the track dry enough to go out there. So, like I said, our protocol, under 50%, we go. Over, we reschedule. And the rescheduled date would be, we would just have to look at the calendar and see where we're at. Sometimes it can be the very next day. But we just have to take into account the track's schedule. Is it available the next day? Is it available the next weekend? Is it, whatever. And then our schedule as well. We went over what happens next. That's a pretty common question after, if I do well and all that good stuff. We went over that. And another one we get a few for. We don't get too many for, but I just kind of want to explain it to everybody so everybody kind of knows and everybody's on the same level here. What are the test fees for? Well, the test fees basically go to cover our expenses for a test day. If we just swung the doors open and said, hey, we'll test anybody in America that wants to come for free, we'd be out of business in about a week. That's just the way it works. The test fees go to cover track rental, tires, fuel, wear and tear on the truck, maintenance on the truck, paying our crew for the day, travel expenses, that kind of thing. There again, we try to keep it at bare minimum as possible. As long as we break even, I'm happy. The first year that we did this, we lost $10,000 strictly from testing. Well, you just can't do that and stay in business. So we had to make some changes, and we did. And so now we've got a pretty good grasp on everything, and we've been doing this long enough now that we have pretty good control over every aspect of it. So, we don't have to make any money at it, but we just can't lose any money at it. And that's just the reality of it. Plus, in my mind, it is a certain amount, it takes a certain amount of dedication for a guy to say, okay, you know what, I either want to try this so bad, or I think I'm good enough at this at such a high rate that I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. So to me, that's an even higher step of dedication, and kind of shows me a little something initially. It's, hey, here's the thing. $1,000 is a lot of money. Not so much in the world of racing. You'll spend, one set of tires for the big truck is $2,200. But, hey, for a guy to pull cash out of his pocket and say, hey, I want my shot, then to me that says something. And on that note, can we get every once in a while, can a sponsor pay the fee? Absolutely. Your sponsor, your grandma, I don't care. There again, that shows me that, even if you don't have the money, you can find the money. So, still same thing. And on that note, let's just kind of talk a little bit about, the cost of racing. That's a hot topic. I'm gonna take a little drink here. Hold tight. And no, it's not Bud Light like on the normal show. This is Diet Mountain Dew, and I would pitch Diet Mountain Dew for some sponsorship, but I think Junior's pretty much got that wrapped up. So, cost of racing. Gosh, racing's expensive. You ain't gotta tell me that. Everybody knows it. But here's the thing, and this is something that I kind of learned, a long time ago, is don't sit there and just spin your wheels trying to change the rules of the game. You know what I mean? Sitting there whining and crying about how expensive it is and how only rich kids get a shot, and which, by the way, isn't true. But only rich kids get a shot. This guy had newer tires than me. You're never going to get anywhere like that. But what you can do is to try to learn how to play the game to your maximum benefit. You're a whole lot better off trying to figure out the rules of the game per se, and trying to figure out how you are going to work everything to your maximum benefit than you are putting in time and mental energy and resources and trying to change the rules of the game, which you're not going to. It is what it is. This business is extremely tough. Extremely tough. For you, for me, for virtually everybody involved in it. But here's the thing. This is the way I look at it personally. As long as I do my absolute best every day, and I make a little bit of forward progress every day, no matter how small, that's a win. That's a win. And what's more important in racing than winning? Exactly. Pretty much everybody racing at the local level wants to try to make it to the big show. Pretty much everybody. Rarely meet a guy that says, "No, you know what? Rick Hendrick offered me a deal, but I decided to stay here." Yeah, no. That's not, nobody does that. But what are they doing about it? Are they coming up with any plans, any strategies to help them progress their career? If not tomorrow, the next day. If not the next day, next week. If not next week, next month. Things don't happen overnight. But what are they doing to put a plan of action in place to at least start the journey to making it? For a lot of guys, it's nothing. What are you going to do today to set yourself apart from those guys and the rest of the pack? What are you going to do to start making a little bit of forward progress every day, trying to move up the ladder of racing, trying to do this at an extremely high level, trying to do this as a profession, no matter how you want to look at it? What are you going to do? The definition of insanity, and I'm sure we've all heard this, is doing the same thing over and over but expecting different results. If you keep, putting your race car on the trailer, going to your Saturday night track every weekend, and that's all you're doing to try to progress your career, then that's all you're ever going to do. Is put your car on the trailer and go to the Saturday night track. You've got to at least make a start, take a step forward, and try to make it happen. Take your shot. Man, don't shortchange yourself. My philosophy is you've got one trip around this rock, and that's it. One trip through life. And man, why not? Why not take a chance? Why not take a shot? Because I can guarantee you, I can't guarantee you a whole lot, but I can guarantee you this. I can guarantee you that I'm glad I did will always feel better than I wish I had. I can guarantee you that. Well, on that note, that's pretty much all I got. I hope this was informative. I hope it helps answer some questions for some guys. Maybe get some guys to thinking, you know. And like I said, if you think you're ready to take that plunge, shoot us an email. Let's talk. Talk's free. Everybody be sure to tune into the J-Dub Show. We have a few episodes on SoundCloud. Most of them now be going on YouTube. Check us out. Check us out on Twitter at Level 1 Motorsports, Facebook page, Level 1 Motorsports. Levelmotorsports.com is the website. And that's pretty much all I got. So for now, this is J-Dub. I'll see your ass at the track.